Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started. Like Manoj said, if everyone could just power off their phones, just so we can avoid any distractions, that would be great. Okay, so I'm just going to start with a little introduction about myself. So I'm a senior at Ponca High School. I don't know if any of you heard my name. My name is Lily. I'm a senior at Ponca High School. I was born and raised there alongside 3 brothers, 1 sister, and 2 dogs. I'm involved in basketball, volleyball, student council, FBLA, National Honor Society, and many other things. I met Manoj at last year's winter ACT class, so the same position you guys are in. This is my second time teaching the ACT reading class, and I've tutored multiple families throughout the past year. My ACT scores, I have a 32 composite score and a 33 super score. My highest in each subject were 33 in English, 35 in math, 32 in reading, and a 33 in science. Who has all taken the ACT already? Who's all taken this class already? Yeah, a lot of you. So the people who have taken the ACT, which subject was the hardest for you? Who wants to start?
Probably reading. For reading.
Okay.
Read.
Science.
Science. There was one more. Maybe not. Okay. So looks like reading is definitely going to be an area that we're going to focus on. I will teach only reading, and then you'll have a couple of different instructors that will help you with the other subjects. So as terrible as this is going to be, we're going to do class introductions. So you're going to say your name, the school that you go to, and your grade. Either the best section that if you've taken it, or what you think your best section is going to be, and then an interesting fact about yourself. So we'll do the people in person, and then we'll do the online people. So we'll start here.
My name is Maddie. I'm a junior. What else was I supposed to?
What's your school?
I go to Sergeant Bluff, and I don't know what my worst section is, or best section is going to be. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a swimmer.
I'm Vanessa. I go to Sea-Land Christian, and I'm a sophomore. And English is my best section, and I'm a dancer.
I'm Connor. I go to Ponca. I'm a junior. Science is my best section. I rest.
I'm Reed. I go to Dakota Valley. I'm a 8th grader, and I play soccer.
I'm Sia. I'm a sophomore in Jefferson High School, and I think my best subject is math.
Yeah. We'll go back here.
I'm Aiden. I'm a sophomore at Heelan, and I think my best section will be English, and I'm in the marching band.
I'm Satish. I go to Dakota Valley. I'm an 8th grader. I play soccer.
I'm Kira. I go to West High. I'm a junior, and then I'm in band.
My name's Tyra, and I'm a sophomore, and I go to Dakota Valley, and my best section's probably English, and I play soccer.
Very nice. Let's do Sophia.
Yeah, I'm Sophia Rudler. I go to Dakota Valley. I'm a junior. My best section is probably science, and I'm a runner.
Bailey.
Yeah, my name is Bailey. I go to Harrisburg High School. My best section is probably math, and I love to lift and work out.
Jack.
My name is Jack. I go to Dakota Valley. I'm a junior, and my best section is probably English, and I like to run.
Krish.
My name is Krish Telegeli. I go to Oak Valley Middle School, and I have not taken the ACT yet.
Kyra.
My name's Kira. I'm a junior at Gorman. My best section is math, and I play volleyball.
Evan.
My name is Evan. I'm a sophomore at Conestoga, and my best subject is math.
Okay. Naisha or Naisha.
I'm Nisha. I go to Central. I'm a sophomore, and my best section is math.
Elena.
My name's Elena. Elena. I'm a junior. I believe my best subject's reading. Oh, and I go to Conestoga.
Elliot?
My name's Elliot. I go to Brandon Valley. I'm a junior. I think my best section would be science, and I'm a lifter.
Okay. Aiden?
I'm Aiden. I'm a junior. I go to Pembroke, and my best section is science.
And Geneva?
My name's Geneva, and I go to O'Gorman. I'm a sophomore, and I think my best subject would be math, and I play golf.
Did I miss anybody? Those are everyone on my screen. All right, so now that we know our classmates and everything, so I'm just going to give you a couple tips about the class in general, and some are more directed towards reading. Write down whatever I put on the board. If I put it down, if I'm taking the time to write it, then it's definitely important. If I talk too quickly, you can feel free to ask me to repeat myself. Actually do all of the homework that he assigns, because it's going to be beneficial, otherwise he wouldn't have assigned it. Do it to learn, not just to do it. That'll make it worth your time. Come to class prepared with questions if you need help. That helps me know what we should focus on and what areas we're having trouble with. Also, ask questions in class. That helps you remember, and it also makes class more interesting. It gets boring if I'm just standing here talking to you guys the whole time. So the questions will help everyone understand. And this is a judgment-free zone. If you feel like it's going to be a stupid question, there is no such thing. And I'm sure there's another person in the class wondering the same thing you are. If you have any questions during homework, feel free to ask them the next class, or you can always text Manoj or in the WhatsApp or anything like that. And I can also stay afterwards to help with questions if you had a question during if we did a practice test or anything like that, and you're not comfortable asking in front of the class, I can stay after and help you. So how to do the homework. Did everyone see the sheet that Manoj sent out with all the homework and everything? Yes? Okay, good. So follow that sheet, and then I would also recommend, especially for reading, to take a lot of practice tests. You've got some great books in your bag, if you've gotten it already, but those have a lot of great practice tests that will be very beneficial. When you do take the practice tests, take them seriously, and also take them timed. That helps you get used to the pressure, so that by the time the test comes around, it's not any different than what you've been practicing. And then also correct your practice tests, but you can mark the wrong answers, but don't mark the correct ones, and see if you can go try it again and see if you can get it right. After you do that, check if it's correct, and a lot of the books have explanations inside them, and those are great tools that if you have a question, you can read their explanation, and it should be able to help you. The process of trying again instead of just looking at the right answer builds knowledge and fixes problems before they can get too out of hand or become a habit. Any questions so far about the process of the class? Perfect. And also, everyone on Zoom, there should be a button if you want to raise your hand or give a thumbs up if you have a question or anything like that. Okay, so now we're going to move into ACT reading as a whole. So how many questions are on the ACT reading? Do you guys know? You guys know, don't you?
Is it 75?
No, that's math. There's 40 questions on ACT reading, and you have 35 minutes to do them. How many passages are in reading? 4. So there's 4 passages, which gives you about 8 minutes and 45 seconds per passage. But by the time you're done with this class, we want you to get each passage done in about 8, so you have that extra kind of leeway room to check your answers and everything like that. There's 10 questions per passage, and there are a couple different types of passages. If you guys have a notebook, this would be beneficial to write down. so these are the four types of passages that you will come across when you're taking the reading ACT. Okay, so prose fiction it's going to be like a story, like a narration. Social sciences will focus more on history and social studies type of topics. Humanities deals with the arts, and then natural sciences, science and everything along those lines. So the way that we teach this class is that you're going to want to take the easy section first and then move down and take the hard one last. By doing that, you form kind of what we call a reading code. The people that have taken this class have already seen how much we stress this. So you're going to memorize which order you take the passages in, and they are in the same order for every reading test. It goes in this order. So the reason that we do that is so when you get to the actual test day, you can flip to your easiest passage right away and then start with that one. And that when we take practice tests in class, we will really emphasize using the reading code as well. So just by looking at kind of what they deal with, I want each of you to kind of take a couple minutes to formulate what you think your reading code will be, or if you've taken it before, you should have a general idea. So mine, for example, is 4, 3, 1, 2. So I like taking natural science, then humanities, then prose fiction, then social sciences. So it should be a 4-number code. One thing I think a lot of the people who have taken this class will be able to tell you is that I ask that question a lot for everyone to go around and say their reading codes. So we're going to practice that today. We're going to go around and say them. So mine's 4, 3, 1, 2.
1, 2, 4, 3.
3, 2, 1, 4.
3, 2, 4, 1.
1, 2, 4, 3.
4, 2, 1, 3.
2, 3, 1, 4.
2, 4, 3, 1.
3, 2, 1, 4.
1, 3, 4, 2.
Okay. Jack?
2, 1, 3, 4.
Okay. Sophia?
1, 4, 2, 3.
Okay. Krish?
4, 1, 2, 3.
Bailey?
I had 1, 2, 4, 3.
Okay. Kira?
1, 4, 3, 2.
Nisha?
1, 4, 3, 2.
Elena?
1, 3, 4, 2.
Okay. Evan?
2, 1, 4, 3.
Geneva?
3, 4, 1, 2.
Aiden?
1, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. And Elliot?
1, 4, 2, 3.
Okay. So like I said, we're going to take a lot of different practice tests through this class specifically with the reading, because I think that's the best way to build habits and to learn which reading code works for you. And with that being said, as we take those practice tests, you can change your reading code however you think it works best for you. A lot of people find that after they take their first couple of practice tests that their reading code is completely wrong, and that is totally fine to change it. But by the end of the class, you should have a set reading code that you can write as soon as they say go with the reading ACT, you can write it at the top and start flipping and working on those problems. So now that we talked about the types of passages, we're going to talk about the types of questions. So these are just the main types of questions that they'll ask. They'll ask about the main idea. I promise my handwriting's better than this when I'm not writing fast. So this will be the big picture that they're talking about. The details will be, obviously, the details in the little picture. They'll ask about vocabulary in context. So they're going to ask you how a word was used. And in those cases, they'll ask, they'll probably give you the exact line that they're talking about. So, and then there's inference. And the author's method or view. So those are the main different types of questions that they will ask during the reading ACT. Okay. Any questions about the types of questions or the types of passages? No? Okay. Anybody online? All right. Okay, so now that we know the passages and the questions, we're going to talk about the methods that you can take the test in. So we have 4 different methods that you can take. The first one is to skim the passage, which takes 3 minutes, and then read the questions, which takes 5. So there's that 8 minutes we were talking about. The next is to read the passage, which takes 4. And then read the questions, which takes 4. And then the last 2 are both reading the questions first. And then mark the passage. And then read the passage. Okay, so those are the 4 passage methods that you can use. So this is pretty similar to the reading code. It'll take a couple practice tests for you to find out which method works best for you. But we highly stress that you don't use either of these ones. Because once you read the question first, then if you were to go and mark the passage or read the passage, you're looking for one answer and not really taking in any of the other information that you're reading. And we don't have the time on the ACT. You only have 8 minutes. So these ones we found are the most successful. So as you take practice tests, you'll realize, or you'll find out which one works best for you. Okay. I think everyone's got that down. Now we're just going to talk about some things to do while you take the test. So we're going to focus on, right now we're going to focus on things to do before you start reading anything. Again, focus on your reading codes. So you're going to do the passages in the order of ease. These would probably be good to jot down some notes too. It's a lot quicker if I don't have to write it all. So before you read, do the passages in order of ease. You want to take note of the passage context. Just kind of skim it, see what it's even talking about. And a lot of times they'll, for like the arts ones or some of the other passages, they will have a little paragraph kind of giving you the background information. So it's good to take note of that, look at the title, citation, etc. And that'll help you kind of see what the passage is going to be about. Okay, so some other things to do before you read it is to link previous knowledge for memory. So once you see the title and if you read that little passage, you should know kind of what the idea of the passage will be. So kind of try and pull some knowledge that you know. And then force yourself to be interested. It's only 8 minutes of your life, and it'll be a lot more beneficial if you're really interested and focused on what you're reading, and do not get distracted. There's a lot of things going on when you're taking the ACT test, and it's easy to find yourself listening for any sort of distraction because it is so silent, but even like the clock ticking or anything like that might get you distracted, and like I said, you only have 8 minutes, so you want to be as focused as possible. So while you're reading, take notes and underline, which we call indexing the passage. So there are some different things that you might want to index. Okay, so what do you guys think would be good things to kind of underline or jot down some notes when you're reading a passage? Just take a guess.
Statistics and stuff like that.
Yep, numbers. So numbers and dates like that, those will all be good to know. Good.
Maybe like the thesis.
Mm-hmm. So the lesson, the main idea. With the thesis, we'll put important topics.
Smaller details.
Yep. So expanding on some smaller details, what are examples of details that would be worth indexing. Some of them you don't want to get too caught up on all the details.
Some people's names. maybe?
Yes, names is a good one.
Locations.
I'm gonna put that up here with this. So any place that they might reference would be good to know.
Mentionings of like weather or
I think that might be a little iffy just with some, you don't want to get caught up on too many of the details, because if you're doing the skim passage, then you only have 3 minutes to do that. So weather they don't really ask questions about weather or anything like that, so I would stray away from that.
Maybe like words you don't know.
Yeah,
Or
so like
more
vocabulary.
complex,
Yeah.
'cause
Yep, so like complex words. I think that is a good start on things to index. And honestly, just anything that might feel right. Elliot?
I would have said like roles that people play.
Yep.
Like
That'd be
what
good.
role they are.
So what was I saying before? Oh, if it just feels like I feel like that might come into play later, then go ahead and index that no matter what it is. Because I feel like a lot of the times your conscious just kind of knows that that detail seems extreme or whatever. So indexing is a total personal preference. If it's something that you feel is going to be important later on, go ahead and index it. Indexing is very crucial. This is a good skill to have that I think will be very beneficial when you come back. So normally we would do an indexing exercise, but some people don't have their books, which is totally fine. So we'll do that next class, and we'll just kind of practice with indexing and everything like that. All right. Now we're going to talk about stuff to do after reading. So after you've read the passage or skimmed the passage, based on whether method you used, you're going to formulate your own answer to the question before you even look at the options that it gave you. And then you're going to want to pick the one that's obviously closest to yours. Use the process of elimination. It will be a great tool to use because only one answer can be correct. So if one of the answer choices is even slightly wrong, the whole thing's wrong. Okay? Another thing to pay attention to when you're trying to figure out what the answer is to make sure that the answer choice is answering what the question is asking. A lot of them, they'll try and put some answer choices that are factually correct, but they don't actually answer the question that the test is asking. So if it's not answering the question, that one's wrong. And along with that, make sure the passage supports the answer. You shouldn't have to use any prior knowledge. It should be explicitly stated in the passage. Okay, this is one of the best tips of advice that I was given when I was taking it. If you are answering a question and you've already spent 30 seconds on it and you don't think that you're 30 seconds away from getting the answer, skip it and you can come back to that question later. Like I said, time management is a big kicker during this the reading test, but also the whole ACT. So this tip can go for any of the subjects. Okay, so we went through the types of passages, types of questions, everything like that. So now we're going to go over the different types of trap answers that they will give you. A trap answer is exactly what it sounds like. It's an answer that they're going to try and trick you with to try and get you to pick, obviously, the wrong one. So there's 5 main types of trap answers that they'll use. They are distortion, misuse detail, out of scope, extreme and opposite. So these are exactly what they sound like. Distortion, they're going to twist details from the passage in a way that makes them no longer correct. So twist details. The next one is misuse detail, which we kind of already talked about. It is a true statement from the passage, but one that doesn't answer the question. And then out of scope, which we also kind of talked about, includes information that's not included in the passage. So like I said, you shouldn't have to use any prior knowledge. So if the answer choice that they give you doesn't have any background evidence stated in the passage, then it is not going to be correct. And then extreme is when it's too extreme to reflect the author's purpose. Obviously extreme wouldn't mean that, but it often includes words like always, never, best, worst. You want to avoid those words in the answer unless the author explicitly stated that he or she thinks otherwise. And then the last one, opposite, is when their answer choice contradicts the information that was in the passage. So when you get to your answer choices, if you think any of your answers fit into one of these 5 categories, then you can go ahead and just cross it off. Like I said, use the process of elimination to help you out with those. They're primarily in there to trick you, which I don't think they should be able to do, but since they can, it's good to know that these are things that they might put in there. So that is everything based primarily on the reading ACT. You guys have any questions about the reading ACT? So how many questions is it?
40.
40 questions. How long do you get? 35 minutes, yep. And since there's 4 passages, that gives you 8 minutes and 45 seconds for each passage. But we want you to get it in how many minutes? 8, yep. So from personal experience, I found that in order to really get down to a good reading score, it takes a lot of practice. It's a lot of time management, not only reading, but the whole ACT. They give you a lot of questions in a little amount of time, so you really have to, like I said, use time management to figure out the speed that you have to take the test at. The reading ACT is difficult because it's a lot of reading, and that's not something that you can really avoid. So the best way to get that time management figured out is to take those practice tests. This class, the reading specifically, our class time spent is going to be a lot of taking practice tests together and correcting our answers and figuring out what types of questions are more difficult for us. So when I have our next class, we will work kind of slowly. We'll talk about, we'll take it kind of passage by passage, and then eventually by the end of the class, we'll be able to take whole practice tests during the class and correct them at the end and do it that way. So I, like I said, taught the reading ACT last spring, and Minosh and I and our other 2 instructors found that and attendance was a lot lower than we had hoped. So that's something we really want to stress is if you can be here in person, that is the best way to get all of the information. If Zoom is your only option, that is totally fine also, but if you have to miss the class for some reason, that is also okay. But we will send those videos in the WhatsApp, and it's very important that you guys watch those videos and take notes and follow along like if you were to be in the class. Along with that, participation was lower than we expected or hoped, I guess, last class. So, like I said, I don't want to just be talking to you guys the whole time. Answering or asking me questions will help us kind of move that along and everything along those lines. Do you guys have any questions about the reading or the ACT test or this tutoring, anything at all? No? Okay, I don't have much else. We would normally take time to focus on indexing and kind of look at some practice tests. So who is in the advanced section that they know? Okay, so the advanced will have a different textbook than the regular. So it's important to bring, you'll figure out, I'm not sure which one he's having you guys work out of, but it's important to make sure you have that book for every class and make sure you come prepared with pen, pencil, highlighter, and everything like that. Yeah.
Are you talking about like a really thick one?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think last section, or last ACT section, we did, the advanced had the 10 practice ACT reading test book, and then the regular worked out of the big red ACT book. But that could always change, so that's all up in the air. But again, just make sure that you bring those materials with you so that we can just avoid having any distractions with that. I have, like I said, not been teaching this too long, but I found that I think it'd be more fun if we, or it'd be easier to get through the classes, you guys, if we had more fun. But also there has to be the kind of that balance between that and getting work done. So me and Minosh are talking about kind of figuring out ways to implement those two together. What else? I don't know what else I need. You guys don't have any questions? No? Okay. So one thing that came out, or that I found out about when I took the test, is a thing called the TIR. It is the test information release, and the test that we will take through the class, I believe, will be the TIR test. It's an ACT test, but after it gives you your results, it also releases your answers back to you, so you can see which ones you got wrong, and what question it was, and why, like what the correct answer was. So though that is very beneficial because it allows you to kind of see specifically, obviously, which question it is that you missed and which ones you need to focus on. And I think that is a cool little tool.
Does that test count towards your composite?
Yes, yep, it's a regular ACT test, but that's just an option. You don't have to do the TIR. I think it's like $20-25 or something like that. But yeah, it's a regular ACT test. Yeah.
How long does it take to get ACT results?
It kind of depends. I know last class that I taught, one of the kids got his back in 1.5 weeks because he took it through his school, which was, it's not usually that fast, but it kind of just depends on the organization and everything like that. But I would say probably around 3 to 4 weeks is what you should expect. Do you guys all have to take it through your schools? Does your school require you to?
I don't think so.
No. Nebraska does, so I was just seeing if you guys... No? Yeah, normally in Nebraska you have to take it as a junior, so I didn't know what it was for the other states, but when we take it, it's online, which is not as good as it is on paper because of the indexing side of things and everything like that. So I was just going to see if any of you guys have had to take it online, but it's better to take it on paper because of a lot of the strategies that we teach you are primarily on paper. Yeah.
Can you request to take it on paper? Or?
Yes, if you take it at like a specific, if it's not through your school, they'll give you the option of taking the online or on paper. Are you guys all aware of like super score and composite and what those mean? No? Okay, so when you take the ACT test, if it's your first time, then you won't have a super score. But after you take it 2 or 3 times, they can take the top scores from each subject, and they'll put it into kind of like you took it one test. So like I said, my composite was 32, so that was one test. I got a 32. But once they took my highest of each subject, I have a 33 super score. Some colleges and universities take SuperScore, others don't. So, I mean, it's obviously beneficial to have high scores on both, but the SuperScore is definitely nice if your university or college will take it. Like I said, it's really important to take those practice ACT tests. There is another tutor who works through the company that did a ton of practice ACT tests, and she got a perfect ACT score and a perfect PSAT score. So it definitely pays off, because then, like I said, you get to the test and it's routine. You know exactly what it is that you're doing, and it's not something new to you. Minosh, I think, said he used to wake up like the week before the ACT test would be. The Saturday before, he would wake up at 8 a.m. and pretend he was going to the center and taking his test. He'd silence his phone and everything like that. And he would take a full test exactly like he would if he went to go actually take the ACT, so that when he got there the week after to actually take the real thing, it was routine, and like I said, it was nothing new. So that is a way you could do it. But overall, just taking the practice ACT test is very beneficial. And like I said, when you do take it, do the exact same strategies that you're going to use when you're in class and when you go to take the actual ACT. So do indexing, do time it so you know if your strategy is working, and use that reading code to see if, like I said, you're in the right order. And then if not, you can always change it. When we do the reading test or the reading ACT class, be prepared to go around and say your reading codes, because like I said, I do that. I go that around and we say that a lot, because Minosh has asked me to really stress the importance of that. The four that already took the class, did you think it helped you having the reading code? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, it's not something you really think about, but once you have seen the difference that it can make, it is pretty helpful. Another cool thing that we are able to do with the books that he's given you specifically is once we take the full practice test, we can see and formulate like what score you would be projected to get, just by seeing how many you got right and wrong or whatever. So it's cool to kind of see what level you're on and what score your guys' practice test would amount to. Obviously those are a little bit of an estimate because the questions are always changing, but those are definitely pretty cool tools that we are able to see what your guys' score would be. I don't think I have anything more reading related that we didn't go over. Here's if any other questions. Anyone online have any questions? Okay, then you guys are good to kind of converse. If I think of something, then I'll add it in. While you guys are doing that, I do want to add a story. When I took the ACT, the first time I took it at like North High School, and I sat down. We were getting ready, and about like 15 minutes into the test, the kid next to me, his phone went off. He got like a text or an alarm or something, and they kicked him out because it was a distraction. So that is something that I didn't realize was something that they could do, but that is why we have you guys silence your phones when you get in here and when we're taking the practice test, because if that were to happen during a test, then you get kicked out and you lose the money that you paid to take the test, and it was definitely eye-opening to watch that happen. But I guess it was better that it happened when the test was started and not the end, but still. Online people, if you guys don't have any questions, you guys are good to leave the Zoom.